It's really early in the morning, and I realize I have to release this podcast tomorrow, and I haven't even looked at it. So I'm editing it early before work. I'm tired. Ego and vice.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.
Born and raised in South Bay, lower class punk ass, I was Northwood grade. I had it made. Spent my nights drinking with my mates. Just a short bus ride up to PA. Red River Red. Then I hit the wall and I knew I had to bounce. They still say that 19 years ago. Well, I got the hell out. From time to time you may see me hanging around. Now I feel like a stranger in this town. Crocs and rolls is where I learned to play. Westwood Tavern's where I learned to walk away.
Good morning, this is Mike. This is Ego and Vice, episode 142. Thanks for coming back. Yes, it is morning, and I'm just enjoying my first cup of coffee as I sit and I edit this fine podcast. Let me just have a sip. Hang on. Oh, that's good. You know what? I'm going against the rules that I always tell everybody. It's that I have this pet peeve, I guess, of like eating, drinking, chewing gum, anything like that on microphone, like a podcast, drives me crazy. And I just broke my own rule. But you know what? It's morning. It's a brand new day. Anything can happen. The world will unfold as it shall, as it must. And I'm probably half asleep. That's why I'm rambling on. Anyway, on the podcast this week, I had two members of the local band Futura Free. I had Peter and I had Clinton. They came into Southwood Studio and we sat down and we talked all about the band. And we had a great conversation about songwriting. Because if one thing Futura Free has a lot of, it's songs. And I find that fascinating. I find songwriting fascinating. I could talk about it all day. I love it. And I love sitting down and talking about people who love it as well. And I also pick their brains for tips and hints and strategies to get me through my extended, concrete, like, writer's block that happens in my brain. So, cool. Yeah, let's get to it. I don't have a lot to say today. Maybe when I actually wake up and my meds kick in, I won't be so scattered and thinking of other things. So, while you got me, let's introduce. This is a song from Futura Free. It's called The Current. And after that, we'll come back with Peter and Clinton right here on Ego and Vice.
Middle of summer, drunk on the porch, watching the storm roll in. I guess this is really it. I'm awake on a bus or in a coffee shop, or maybe just driving around. These things aren't real, I haven't left the house. The water's high and it's rising fast. The only thing left to do is ask, did we ever make a difference? Could we ever change our fate? The choice of where we're heading was never ours to make. We'll watch it slip through our fingers, washed away in the end. Just know that I was always proud to be your friend. Places, impossible doors. Who was I a year ago? What does it mean if I don't know? Am I alive? Or just a projection? Or somebody in between? I won't look in the mirror, this is just a dream. I'm not prepared, but it's time. and we're all borne along the current of it. I don't know the reason, and I don't know when, but I promise one day I will see you again.
Hey, welcome back. This is Ego and Vice, episode 142. As promised in the intro, I have two members of the local band Futura Free.
Hello.
Hello. I have Peter, and I have Clinton.
What's going on?
What's going on? Thank you so much for coming out to, as I like to call it, Southhood Studio, and meeting my the Southhood Studio mascot, the one, the only, Thomas, the cat.
Hello, Thomas.
He's perfect in every way.
Absolutely. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves and let the world know who you are, what you play, what you do.
All right. My name is Peter. I play guitar and I sing in Futura Free.
And I'm Clinton. I play bass and I do backup vocals in Futura Free.
Okay, this might blend into the future conversation that we're going to have. I usually ask a question, just a random question at the beginning. In your opinion, who do you think of like out there bands that are out there, who do you think has the biggest song catalog?
Like of every artist ever.
Sure.
What about has anyone heard of Buckethead before? He's like an experimental
The guitar player?
guitar guy.
Yeah.
I remember I went down like a Wikipedia rabbit hole. He like releases like 4 albums a year or something like that.
Damn.
That's not a very. I don't really listen to Buckethead. Did the Beatles have a big?
The Beatles had a big catalog, but I don't know if they can beat some of these. Even like some Bandcamp or SoundCloud electronic producers I know are like pumping stuff out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're going for full songs, full release. I think Buckethead's probably a pretty good pull there.
It was why I remember he was like in Guitar Hero or something. That was kind of my introduction. Then I don't know. Yeah, Buckethead. That's
Buckethead.
Final answer.
That's cool. Buckethead didn't he play in like Guns N' Roses
yes.
for a while? He had Buckethead.
The KFC
He wears the
bucket
KFC
on his head.
bucket on his head.
Yeah.
With the white kind of mime mask.
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
Okay, the reason I ask this is because doing my deep dive research on Future Free, not counting acoustic releases of songs and electronic songs, you have 88 songs.
Woo!
Approximately. That's what I could find listed.
Oh, yeah.
So big time writers.
Yeah. I think the secret is that we record everything ourselves. So when you take kind of budget out of the equation, I think you sort of end up, you're less likely to just like cut something for time or money. And also when you're your own producer, I feel like maybe you don't have someone telling you to maybe trim it down. So you wind up with a lot of material that just gets released.
I was gonna say there's an entire project in there where you released one song a week for the entirety of pandemic.
Yeah. So
Which
Right.
really bolsters numbers in a way that maybe without a pandemic wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But it was very cool.
yeah, that was that particular project was sort of without anything else to do, it was fun to just keep releasing music for the heck of it, I suppose.
There's a good argument out there where it's what do you prefer? What do you think is more effective, to release a single or to release like an EP or to release like an actual record with like 12 songs? And I always thought it was kind of by choice, and sometimes it is, because you can bombard people with music. Here's my 14 song LP or whatever you want to call it. And they get through a couple of them, and then they kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But you put so much love and work and everything like into all the songs, and then you have the single, which you can kind of put out individually. And what I found out over the conversations of having this podcast, which ties into what you were saying, you make your own music. You produce it, you record it, you release it. A lot of these bands, they can't. A lot of it, the reason they release singles is sheer cost. So you've eliminated that completely.
Yeah, and like you said, I think that kind of I love doing that. That's definitely my preferred way of making music and putting it out into the world. I definitely think it sometimes works to my detriment. Speaking as we just released a full-length record, and I love it so much, but I will say that a full-length record is maybe not, in the current day and age, the most effective way to share your music. I still, Clinton and I are big, like, album heads. We still consume music, like, by the album. But I can appreciate that is maybe not the way that things are most commonly done anymore.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways, I think.
I appreciate that too. Like, I come from an era where you would go to the store and you would purchase like a CD or a record, and you got home and you unwrapped it, and as you were listening to it, you'd read the lyrics and the liner notes and stuff. It was the actual physical kind of like all
experience
the senses
of it. Yeah.
And it was wonderful, and it's a shame that a lot of people haven't experienced that. I've had people on the podcast where one of my questions at the end is like, what was the first CD or record you've ever bought? And they'd be like, oh, I've never actually bought physical music before. And I'm just like, I check myself. I'm like,
wait, whoa, what?
I look at my watch, like, how old am I?
Yeah. Where am I? What's going on?
But yeah, and it's just, I think I like the full records too, because that's the way the artist wrote them. That's the way it's sequenced on there.
Yeah,
that's the way they wanted to release it, right?
There's a bit of like a magic or an art to the laying out of a record as well. That like singles are great and you can sit down and listen to a single, but it's only a couple minutes, 4 minutes of music. You can tie that into a bigger narrative being said. There are concept albums that are stories front to back. So Peter and we've discussed this at length, drunk on the couch before. But sometimes a good album plays out like a movie, and singles play out like a scene from the movie, or like songs on the album play out like scenes from the movie.
That's fair.
So you can have a scene that you'd want to go back and rewatch on YouTube over and over again. But some of the better albums, like the full experience, is to sit down and listen to it front to back.
I completely agree with that. Not everything needs to be a concept album, but usually stuff is written in the same kind of time frame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When bands first get together and you don't really have much songs, but he has a song and he has a song and they are written in different parts of the world by different people at different times, and you put them together and they all fit on a record, but it's just like, yeah, it's a bunch of nice songs, and then you finally down the road you write a record together, and it's like, okay, this is all starting to sound like this band now. So
yeah,
I like the idea of like a full record because it's all written in the time frame. You kind of get that moment in time. You listen to a song and you get that nostalgia. It's like, oh yeah, it reminds me of that. And it might just be the atmosphere of the record itself or the songs. Yeah. So very, very, very cool. And I listed a whole shitload of singles and EPs and LPs, which we can get to and we can kind of pick through. But why don't we start at the beginning? Why don't we start with the origin story? Maybe of the band or even individual. Peter.
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm from Thunder Bay, Ontario.
So
originally.
am I.
I know. I looked when sorry,
I didn't mean to.
No
I didn't mean to
way.
yell.
No, that's
I didn't mean
okay.
to yell
I
right
know.
now.
Yeah. So I'm from Thunder Bay, Ontario originally, and Clinton and I met at the university in Thunder Bay. Clinton is from Lakehead U. Yeah. So Clinton and I met there and started a band called Soapboxer, and that was sort of I refer to it as sort of a proto-Futura free. It was kind of, if you go back and listen to it, it's pretty clear, like, the intention is kind of there with the band. So anyway, we just kind of wrote music together. We really bonded over like similar artists and stuff. So we played in this band, and then after graduation, Clinton went. Sorry, I'm kind of telling your side of the story, but Clinton went to Windsor, and I ended up moving to Kingston with my girlfriend at the time, now wife. So yeah, we moved to Kingston, and then I kind of just put up a Kijiji ad saying, "Hey, like, I play music. I don't really know anyone in this new city. If anyone would like to hang out and play music," and sort of from that Kijiji ad, I was able to sort of meet some guys who formed the band, and then Clinton, we both ended up in Ottawa after that, and from there Clinton jumped into the band, and yeah, so that's sort of my side of things there.
Very cool. Very cool. Clinton?
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I started my own like solo project outside of that when I lived in Windsor, called Headglow. But moving back to Ottawa, I moved to Windsor originally for work. You graduate from university and you're trying to find that money, trying to find a place to live. And that sucked. I met a lot of good friends, but I really didn't like it, so I decided to move where my friends were going to go, and Peter and I had always been very, very close. Used to travel from like Kingston to Windsor, that like 7-hour run just to hang out. So I'm like, well, Peter and Heather are moving to Ottawa. I'm going to go there as well. And Peter approached me to join the band, and it's been great ever since. I really like the way Peter approaches songwriting, and it leaves a lot of really fun space for me as a bassist to like really lock down the groove. The guitar is a lot more textural and a lot less rhythmic in Futura, which allows the bass to really step into that role even stronger than in some other bands.
Right.
And the fact that we'd been in a band before meant it was just sort of, you were able to catch the ground running. Peter had a whole bunch of songs, learn them, jump in, bada bing, bada boom.
Cool. Thunder Bay, that's crazy. I meet a lot of people from Thunder Bay. There hasn't been many that have been down in the studio, except me. I find there's two types of people in Thunder Bay. There's ones that move. There's three types. There's ones that stay in Thunder Bay and never leave. There's ones that live and die by moving like west, or sometimes they come back. And then there's the east folk. Yeah. Right. And were you born in Thunder Bay?
I was.
You were born? I was born. You weren't born in Thunder Bay.
No, I just went up for school.
Oh, okay. School. Yeah. What was the Outpost? Is that what it was called?
Yep, the campus
it's
bar.
still called that, eh?
Yeah, we've played at the Outpost to basically no one before, and but it was lots of fun. So it's huge. It's very strangely large.
Yes.
But,
yes.
It's cool.
I have a videotape which I actually had transferred to like a USB stick of my old band. Had a band in Thunder Bay called I Refuse, and we played the Outpost. It was. Do you remember Meathead Records? Probably not. That was a bit. I might have a few years on you. But yeah, and I remember the Outpost. We were just like a 3-piece punk band, and we were on this giant stage, and we just stood there like statues because we were overwhelmed by like, oh my god, is this Wembley Stadium?
Yeah. With that like mural of famous artists hanging over your head, watching your every move.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thunder Bay was a fun place to grow up until I hit a certain age in my like late teens, early 20s, where I was just like, I need to do something different with my life. And my goal was always to leave Thunder Bay. I had friends, and my sister was in Ottawa, and I was always Ottawa was supposed to be a stopover to Toronto because I was going to follow my dreams and become like a band something or a musician or a working musician, you know the goals. Yep. And you grow roots pretty quick wherever you land, and if you're not careful, those roots get deeper and deeper and deeper. And I've never left Ottawa. I've been here ever since. But Ottawa's my home. And it has a wonderful music community, a lot of amazing talents, a lot of amazing bands. It's a shame that everyone who's in Ottawa kind of knows who we are. It's other people like outside of Ottawa that is hard to kind of bring in, right? So since you've been playing around Ottawa, like when did the band actually get together? What era? Like I have around 2018.
Yeah, that's correct. So that's 2018 was actually very similarly ready to leave Thunder Bay and move to not even the big city. Kingston is roughly the same size as Thunder Bay, but I was ready for a change, I think. So yeah, 2018 was basically when the Kijiji ad went up, where people who responded joined the band. Yeah. And so yeah, 2018 would be when the band got started. And then I would say 2022 was when we both moved. Clinton and I both ended up in Ottawa, and that's when Clinton joined the band, and this like sort of iteration of the band came into being was 2022.
Our Ottawa era, if you will.
Yeah. And there's 4 of you in the band, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to give a shout out to the other 2 guys? Maybe introduce them as well. The other 2 members. I mean,
I would love to. On drums we have Bobby Benavides. He's been there since day one. He was one of the Kijiji responders. A tremendous drummer, tremendous guy.
Tremendous name.
Yeah, it's Bobby Benavides. Yeah. And then on guitar we have Jorge Moreno. And he just joined this year. And he's been a tremendous delight to work with, and just a fantastic guitarist and a very handsome man as well. So that's him. So
he's a handsome man. Since 2018, since we're in that start, I go through singles and EPs in between 2018, January 19, April 19, January 20th. These are years, like the year 2020, April 2020. You release Science Fiction, Cascade, Be careful what you get good at, which was an
I like
EP.
that one. That's an underrated. That's my. Yeah.
Yeah. Stranger. Thrown from a Bridge.
Yeah.
That's cool. Mantis Creature. Breakfast at Mike's. What'd you have?
I don't. That's just a joke that one of my friend's dads was named Mike. So when I would be at his house, I guess probably we had waffles or something.
Oh, very good. A friend. Do you know an area resident in town? His name's Doug Hempstead.
I don't think so.
Anyway, he just posted something on social media today. He was eating a bowl of Frankenberry, and he's like, the best thing about being an adult is no one can stop you from eating this sugary garbage. Anyway, it just reminded me of the breakfast.
Yeah.
Move on to October 2020. You put out Put Trash Where It Belongs. These are still singles and EPs. April 21st was Weapon. May 2021, was Different Things. February 2022, Shock Goth Volume 1. I haven't seen a Volume 2 yet.
Yeah.
May 2024, which is not too long ago, Gifted a Wasteland and Easy. It's like a split thing.
Yeah.
I
Or
guess.
just like two songs.
Two
on
songs
one release.
Okay.
Basically. So, yeah.
And just to get through them, because I've started, 20. These are the actual records that you've released. 29. Oh, sorry. Yeah. 2019, you had Unreal.
Correct.
Then you had Unreal Acoustic.
Yep.
Okay. And then you had re-released a song every week during quarantine.
Yeah.
Which was, I think, how many songs was it? Like
19, because I always remember it was 19 because it wasn't 20. It wasn't the nice round number. It was 19. So yeah.
Yeah. Pandemic could have lasted just 1 week longer. June 21, Reducer. Then you had a deluxe version of Reducer with electronic versions.
Yeah, that was fun.
And then in 2024, you had This Reality. Distant Offer. Is that right?
No.
Distance.
Distance. Would it be distance?
Over direction.
Distance and direction / over everything. That would just be another single. So yeah, This Reality.
Chicken
would
scratch.
Be, yeah.
Sorry, it's a lot.
Yeah, deciphering the notes.
And that was the most recent stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so how does the writing process work for something? For when you have 88 songs that you must be writing all the time, do you all write together, or are they individual songs that are brought? Is there a primary writer? What's the secrets?
It's mostly Peter. Some bands work great as a collaborative effort between many different people, but I remember watching, any bassist will probably have seen Adam Neely videos on YouTube over their history of learning the bass and stuff, and he brought up something that I really like about, it just sometimes works better if there's a band leader, someone with creative direction, someone to like turn to for a decision, so you don't get that like fighting over stuff and like what's the band, who's the band, the classic thing that broke up a lot of bands in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. And so Peter's always been sort of the guiding directive force with Futura Free. He does basically all the lyrics, most of the songwriting. He brings us demos and we write our own parts to them. We can suggest edits. Peter and I have sat down with our heads together to rearrange songs or edit things to be more concise, or if someone has
the
a really
bones
good
are
idea.
there of the tune. I appreciate that. And that's the way I can relate to that songwriting. I've never been in a band where all 5 or 4 of us got in a room with nothing and said, let's write a song together. It just never really goes where you want it to, right?
Yeah.
There always has to be started off with some sort of spark of idea, or like I said, the bones of something, and then you kind of build from there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you always written, before you wrote songs, did you write Did you write novels?
Yeah, I mean, not really. There's no way to say this without, I've always considered myself this, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a tool. I felt pretty creative from a young age. I used to make home movies and stuff like that. I've always really been into video and film and stuff like that. I would write really lousy, occasionally I was really into the Jason Bourne series when I was a kid, so I'd probably try to write some action story or something. So anyway, just garbage, music. But I think music was the first thing where I probably dedicated enough time to it where I started feeling like I was actually okay at this. I'd say so.
And I guess technology is evolving right down your alley, right? You're able to do all this stuff. When you're a little kid, you wanted to make movies and stuff or whatever, and now you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure sort of being able to live in an era where art the production of art is sort of democratized. You don't need $1 billion and be financed by some like production company or financed by a label to make an album or make a short film or something like that. I think, there's a lot of spooky things about, some technology, but I think I take for granted how good we have it in other ways. So,
yeah, it's like back in the day where it's like, we got to get a record deal, man, else no one will hear you, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, that is just like, it's crazy to think about now. It's just like, I'll just do it myself. Distribution still helps, but what do you prefer, the production side of music or playing live?
I like both. Gun to my head, probably production side of things. Although I think we both love playing live. I've definitely worked with musicians before who love the writing and production process and just hate getting up on a stage. We're definitely not like that. But I think whenever I get burnt out from playing live, I get really into producing music. And when I'm really burnt out from like finishing a record or something, playing live is good. So it's a nice seesaw of just being able to like both.
And that fits in really well with the natural cycle of, you release an album, you want people to listen to it, so you start gigging more. You gig on that album, you're probably sick of hearing. You're probably sick of like hearing the recorded versions and tweaking with them.
Yeah.
So now you're back, feet on the ground. You might not open your laptop for a while, and then when you get kind of tired of that, well, it's probably been long enough that it's time to write a new album for new material for the people to listen to.
Yeah. For sure.
Let's play a song.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
You have a lot of them. Would you like to choose one and introduce it?
Sure. Let's do... I'm really drawing a blank. Let's do Distance and Direction off the new record.
Okay. This is Distance and Direction by Futura Free. Ego and Vice.
Machine in a city that won't give up its secrets. I haven't seen myself in forever. I'm not special for knowing it won't get better. And I'll burn that bridge when I get there. Can you hear that horrible sound? The future is in motion, where every step you take is one further from home. No matter the distance, no matter the direction. Picking up the pieces of a past life. Who can say there's a reason to this? A 2-millimeter hole in reality. The pale looms over me. It is random and it is senseless. Caught in the middle, trying to get through it. Is the world really out to get me? Or am I just stupid? I'll burn that bridge when I get there. Can you hear that horrible sound? The future is in motion, where every step you take is one further from home. No matter the distance, no matter the direction. No matter the distance, no matter the direction. Out of a world I know nothing about. I'm lying down and wake up as somebody else. It's something we were never meant to comprehend. I wouldn't want to try, I wouldn't know where to begin. They just tell me it doesn't end. I'm staring out at a world I know nothing about. I'm lying down
So when you create set lists and you have 88 songs, what do you choose? How do you choose? Are there set lists? Are they just always different, or do you have like a base chunk of songs that the hits? Do you just play the hits?
We just play. We got a base chunk of songs. We're actually pretty. We could probably stand to be a little more adventurous with set lists. I think it's kind of what everyone's used to and what everyone's like really locked into. Lately, it has been like pretty much everything off the new record. Just as a matter of like, we played these songs so much to get ready to record them in like pre-production that we said, well, like we're really locked in with all these songs. Like, we certainly don't remember how to play every single one. Like some of these like are kind of there's been weird overlaps with like who knows what material and stuff like that. So I think it's mostly, despite the large catalog, I think it's like a fairly like streamlined, catalog of what we're going to be doing live.
So if you're a fan of the band, if you see you 2 different times and 2 different things, you'll hear some of your favorites.
Yeah, pretty comparable stuff. I think we have
Do you have songs that you've never played live?
Yeah, a lot. I think a lot of what was released in that sort of we released a song every week during quarantine. Those songs were almost even more like kind of like recording experiments. Like a lot of it, like some of them were like get everyone together and like work on something. But I think much more often it was like an idea or something that sort of just got embellished like in the studio. I've actually always been a real advocate for like, there's a time and place to like record music that like has to translate live, but I've also enjoyed experimenting with music that like, it doesn't need to be played live. It can just be like whatever. Like it can be add an instrument that we might not have access to live or something like that. So anyway.
How did you choose your set out of having so many songs? Was there ones that actually stood out, or you just decided to make the set?
I think it was we definitely gravitate towards the songs that are like, I think upbeat. Like I don't think there's a lot of interest in doing like a weird slow slog like song or anything like that, I think. And yeah, once again, like the new stuff and like the old stuff that we bring in is kind of like the upbeat, like the hits from that particular album. So the kind of classic, like you cycle in all the new stuff, but you bring back all the old ones from the old records that people responded to more positively, I think.
Yeah, sometimes it works out. We all learn like before the album is out or even recorded. Sometimes Peter's feeding in 1, 2, maybe 3 new songs to learn. We gig them for a while. Oh, we have a whole album's worth of material. It's studio time to record it. Those are the songs we know. So now our set list is almost entirely the new album to go along with the album release. And then every once in a while, like someone in the band is like, I really love this song from an old record. We've like we'll throw that back in. There's quite a bit of and Bobby's our drummer. He lays it down. So if Bobby wants to play a song, we try to honor that too, because that's a man you want to keep happy.
Yeah. Bobby gets his way. So.
Yeah.
What's his last name again?
Benavides.
Bobby Benavides on the drums.
What a name! That's a great name.
Yeah.
I just call him his full name every time I saw him.
Bobby Benavides.
Peter does when he announces him at every show, because it's just so fun to say.
I think I have probably, give or take, maybe about finished from my years of whatever, but I probably have about 500 half songs.
Yeah.
How many half songs would you approximate that you started, loved, and then just never finished?
It might be less than you think, which that sort of goes back
You're a finisher?
Well,
he's a closer.
I'm a closer. Coffee's for closers.
There it is. He's a closer.
It's because of that silly COVID project of the song every week. Those were a bunch of half-finished songs, and it was kind of like, okay, like I just want to like, for the sake of like releasing something as sort of a writing exercise or a production exercise. So I sort of like, it was like functionally like taking a broom and sort of, all these half songs on my hard drive or whatever, like just an idea recorded, they got turned into full songs. Now I think I'm starting to accumulate a bit of a backlog of half-finished songs, but not as much as you might think. I don't know why that is. Maybe my writing style is changing or something, but yeah.
Or maybe you're getting closer to like the product that you want to actually record.
Yeah.
Quicker, or like.
For me, songwriting is difficult because my attention span is bad. I'm pharmaceutically medicated for my poor attention span since I was a child. but I'll start something and it'll get really good, and I'll be like, oh wow, and then I'll just like, oh, I hate this, I hate it, and I'll put it down and I'll listen to it again, and I'll be like, I don't feel it anymore. But so I have so many half songs. But what I started to do, like what you said, was just like close them. Coffee's for closers.
Yeah.
Fuck you, that's my name. I recently just finished an EP. I just labeled it Mikey No One because it sounded kind of cooler than Anonymous.
Yeah.
And it's basically just half songs,
Yeah.
you know, where you just start and say you only have like just a little verse and kind of a catchy chorus.
Yeah.
Where normally I would sit there and I would just pound on the clay until it's one big lump of, and then I can't shape it to where I want it, so I just kind of leave it alone. I just take those two little pieces, put it together, repeat, and that's the song.
Yep.
And it was the most like liberating, freeing song like project I've ever done.
Yeah.
I did 7 songs in like a week.
Nice.
And I just recorded it myself and released it, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do it again, but now I'm overthinking it.
Yeah.
I've told Clinton, this will sound familiar to Clinton. We're both very big fans of an artist called Jeff Rosenstock. And I remember this happened this was back in the Thunder Bay days when we were playing in that last band. And I remember Jeff Rosenstock was like answering some questions on Reddit, and someone asked him, hey Jeff, like I'm sort of writing or recording something, and like it's like sort of almost there, but like how do I know when it's done? And Jeff's response to that question like lives rent-free in my head, and I should get it tattooed on me or something, because it's the most important piece of advice I think I ever heard. And it's just like, release it, get it out there. You get closure through the act of releasing this piece of music. You get closure on it. You can move on, learn, and then you can learn from what you liked and what you didn't like. But once you release a piece of music, you're sort of like locking it in and committing to like what that is. And I think that sort of informed a lot of the sort of extensive catalog of like, okay, like, well, this is done, and like I just want to release it, and like just take away what I liked and what I didn't like, what I liked and did not like about that piece of music, and sort of go on from there. So
I think that was a question that just popped in my brain too, is like, do you like your music? Do you like the stuff you write?
Yeah,
You do?
probably too much, actually. But yeah,
Until it comes up on a playlist at a party.
then I
like,
get
"Don't know,
embarrassed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it reminds me of, I don't remember, famous artist, but of course now quotes, I can't remember who said it, but there's a very famous quote about like, no art is ever finished, only abandoned. Because you could nitpick, you could redo sections, you could do whatever you want forever. And music with releasing, as opposed to a painting where you just have to like hand it to someone or hang it on a wall and be done with it.
It doesn't mean
music. There's like a whole process you can do that's a separate like line in the sand, right?
Yeah.
Where you can't touch it anymore. It's out in the world. You could do a remaster, you could do a re-edit, you could re-record it, but a version is done that people can listen to, sort of a definitive.
Yeah, you
I'm
let
done
it
with this.
go.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's not,
Exactly,
It might not
letting
be.
it go.
It might not be finished, but you like let it go. Here
exactly,
it is. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think
cool.
that can be very cathartic.
Yeah, and after that much writing, I love talking songwriting. By the way, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
this is one of my things. What do you? I found that the older I get, the harder it is for me to write lyrics. When I was younger, I used to just kind of snarl out. Rah! I was always kind of a punk rock guy, right?
Yep,
So it's very easy when you're young and angry to write lyrics. For me, as I'm getting older, I'm a pretty happy guy. You know, everything's good. I'm not like, fuck you, dad. Like, I'm not that guy anymore. So I find it hard to write lyrics. What are your songs about? Are they just anyway?
That's a really good question, and I think Clinton and I have different answers to that.
I feel very seen because I mentioned having a solo project, and I'm sitting on a whole bunch of. Typically, my songwriting style is sitting down with an acoustic guitar, typically chord progression, humming a bit of a melody, and then words. Like lyrics really inform that. I might change the harmony to match like the melody that I've written, but words typically came first for all of my previous writing, and then all of a sudden, my life got quite a bit better. I was, hanging out with friends. I was doing the things that I wanted to do. It's hard to write songs. It's hard to write at least like darker indie rock or emo songs about having a good time. Whereas like I could probably write like I could write like probably some like dancey stuff or some upbeat stuff. But the stuff that really hits me in my soul is typically a little bit darker or moodier, and that's become really hard for me to write because that's still what I want to hear and still what I want to write, but it's not really where my life is anymore. So I'm encountering that same problem where I've been sitting on about an album's worth of material that I just don't know what lyrics lyrics to put to it, and then my life's been all over the place too. I moved again, and I joined Futura free back, so I've had like other priorities, but I do want to get back into it. But I totally understand the struggle of what to write and whether it's good enough, whether it's better than the stuff I've written before. But an author that I really like once said, like, most of writing happens in editing, not in writing, and you can't edit a blank page. Yeah. If you have an idea, you have to write it down. It could be the stupidest sounding thing. Once you can see it, the dumb thing written out, you can see what merits it might have, how you would change the words, but you can't edit a blank page.
That's brilliant, because that's the way it happens. Like I'll phonetically blah 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 something down, and then I'll listen to it in the car or something, and I'll just kind of, this line will come into my head that's over top of that one and erase. And you put it in after. Yeah. Cool, yeah. So just, I totally agree with that. Just write anything down. And the sky was full of poo. Because it won't stay that way, but at least it's there and you can, change it. Yeah. Be angry enough at it to change it later.
Exactly.
I hate that line.
Yeah, and then when you think of what was the sky actually full of? Like, you wouldn't have thought of that in the moment, but now you're writing a song about maybe a day that the skies looked crazy or whatever.
Yeah. And I find too, like, the older I get and the more music I've listened to and the more I've just consumed, especially with the internet now, where it's just so easy to just, it's everything you ever wanted to listen to for $13.99 a month. You know what I mean?
Wild, yeah. I know.
And it's just like, when I'm writing, it's like, I've heard this before. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Oh, this has been done 1,000 times. You have to kind of let that go too, because it all has been done 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. Yeah. And if you're saying something that everyone's been through and you hate, you know what I mean, as writing it, it's like, it doesn't mean it's not going to relate to something. It's, at least it's truthful too, right?
Well, it's also written through the lens of the way that you write. Everyone has their own style. Everyone has their own art style. Everyone has their own voice, because you're speaking from, so the way you choose to say things and the phrases you put together, whether those phrases have been heard before or the message that the song has, it's still, from your perspective, someone might still pick up on, like, I like the way this guy says things, or the way this guy's flow is, or the words this guy chooses to use to express it. But anyway, sorry, I think, Peter, you maybe had a different outlook on the writing process and the getting older and what you write songs about, that I didn't want to just trample over.
Oh no, I just I write songs, so I feel the exact same way as both you guys were. Like, I write songs about, well, I should say I write songs about what distresses me, and when I was younger, I was distressed about, very your classic relationship things or heartbreak or whatever. I've been fortunate enough to not have those things really be a commonplace in my life as I've been getting older. So I've been turning to thematically writing about sort of the world outside, how things are getting really bleak outside. That kind of falls in with like environmental dread and stuff like that. The new album is... I wouldn't say... Well, actually, I would say the new album's political. I would argue that all art is political. But, like, it's not, like, specifically about... it's not as
topical?
Much... Yeah, it's not as, like... Yeah, it's only topical in, like, that, like, sort of vague, like, uneasy sense you get when you sort of look around you and see, like, all the nasty shit that's happening. Yeah. So that's kind of the narrative through line, or sort of the thing that sort of holds together a lot of the lyrics on this new project that we just released. But yeah, I write about what worries me. In the past, it's been about mental illness. I'm lucky enough that I'm doing better in that regard. But, what's worrying me right now is sort of the state of the world and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's crazy. Everything's crazy. This is not this is not a political podcast. So we try to talk about the things that make us happy.
Yeah.
If that's what your song's about, that's not like, I'm not saying don't talk about what your song's about. I'm just saying, I've had political things come up, and it's just like, back to music.
Yeah.
So no, I get that. I totally get that. Like, stuff that's going on around. That's the way I write now. It's just stuff that's in my window frame. Looking out the window type of thing, or looking in the mirror type of stuff. I do a lot of introspective, kind of how I feel about stuff now. I'm tired and I'm grumpy and I'm whatever. Stuff like that. Or why did this anyway?
Well, it could also be good, like, therapeutic to stuff that's going on internally. One of the big things that a therapist might tell you is to write that stuff down, itemize it, list it out.
Yeah.
That can be a great source of inspiration for, wow, I felt like, this pain in my chest and this tightness, and I was really worried about this thing happening to me.
Yeah.
There's the bones of something that you could, whether not everybody wants to, air their air their emotional mental health laundry on their music, but it can be a really gratifying, even for a song you write for yourself.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's cathartic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you just needed to get it out, and people can interpret it any way they want, provided you're not completely down the middle direct about it, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool. And if I think creative people, they know how to build that.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
know, where it's cathartic for them, but it's also kind of vague enough to put out in the world, so you're not like
So it's
hiding under your bed the next day, like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's relatable to a stranger who might be able to take something from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Many a day it's that feeling where it's like you wake up hungover and you kind of remember what you did and you go, oh no.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I don't know. I think any chance people can get to be creative. Not everybody can write songs, but I think anybody can write something down, write stories, keep a journal.
Yeah.
Write poetry, anything, you know, even just go to Michael's and get some canvas and some paints and draw circles. It's a release, it's getting something out of you, and it's putting something into the world, because we take as, you know, consumers and people.
Yeah.
Put something out in the world. Even if no one
Absolutely.
sees it, just get it out of you. And I think that's great for any good advice for anybody.
Yeah.
You can stop writing songs if you wanted to for a little while. Like, you guys are good.
I was about to say, oh, well, you know, I'm taking a little break from songwriting, but that's actually a lie. I've been messing around with a bunch of folk music and stuff like that, so who knows what that's going to be, but that's not for a while.
The other writer that has been in, do you know Teenage Fiction? You know, Sandy?
yeah.
We
Sandy.
love Teenage Fiction. We love Sandy.
Sandy was here, and he was flipping through his database, his Starship Enterprise dashboard.
Yeah.
Look at all the songs he has so many songs.
That doesn't surprise me, that person.
Yeah, he had like one file. He showed me like one file, and there was like 150 like finished songs in it.
What a beast.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get to recording these sooner or later. I'm like, oh my lord! But he does that too. He does his own production. And stuff, so
He's really
hey man,
He's also just one of the nicest people on the
the
scene.
best. He's the best. Yeah.
Sandy's just can't say enough nice things about him. His production is tremendous. I remember working on this record. I actually consulted him a little bit for some advice on a couple things, and his vocals are featured on one of the songs. Actually.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Well, like the Ottawa community, there's a certain corner of it that just everybody knows everybody, and it's very, very cool, and everyone's really nice and very talented, and it's very strong right now. So I've seen Ottawa's music scene kind of go through peaks and valleys through the years, right? But right now we're in a really high point, which is cool. So what is the rest of 24 into 2025 look like for Futura Free?
Taking it pretty easy. Just shows, I think. Trying to do a few more like weekend runs, do a little more around Montreal and Toronto and Kingston and stuff like that. That's really about it. Like, that's really the record. We sort of finished the record over, I guess it was finished in the winter. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun sort of, getting that out there into the world. And I think, just playing around. Probably more writing on the horizon at some point, although I'm not exactly rushing to do that either. But just playing shows, hanging out, going to shows. I think that's the thing. I always forget that in the summer we're so busy that I just love just being part of the community. Like, it's not even about us having to like play anything. It's just nice to go and hang out. So
it's not hard to find a show these days. You know, there's always somebody playing somewhere, and Ottawa has less venues now, but the venues that are there are kind of like the pillar venues where you're always, you'll see someone. Rainbow, Saw, Bronson Center's been pretty good for local people. And I know Spectrasonic uses that place for bigger things, but at least there's like local openers and stuff. And House of Targ, that type of stuff.
Yeah, so. We love Targ.
Yeah. Yogi just got married. I just saw he just got married.
I should have said congrats in my last email to him.
Congrats. Do you have any, speaking of congratses, if you want to throw some out there, did you have any shout outs to any other bands, people, anyone you want to thank for this stage of your journey?
Oh, where to begin? I don't know. It's
so many people, and that's why Peter's actually really good. If you look at the look at the liner notes of any of the Futura free releases, there's always a big give thanks section, and it's full of so many more people than your usual, like, you know, this is dedicated to my brother, or shout out to this one guy. And it's all. I'm sorry, Peter. This is maybe awkward for you, but I've always found it seems very humble to say, like, no, thank you to, you know, my parents. Thank you to all the people in this band, that band, that band. Thank you to the people that I hang out with, like people that I party with. It's very honest to be like, you know, your whole community, the whole village that raised you, all had some part in the thing that you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, just shout out to the Ottawa scene.
Yeah.
All of the bands. I'd be able to have a comprehensive list, but you know, Teenage Fiction, The New Hires, Class of 91, Young Ghost House, just. If you're out there and you know us, we're glad to have you in our lives, and so happy to be your friends, be able to show up to a show. And I just love it when I walk in and people now are like, hey, Clinton, how you been, man? Like that does
Good scene.
that does what no amount of therapy can do for my personal well-being.
That's community. That's what that is.
Exactly.
And
It's a powerful thing.
You're part of building it. You're a part of it. So it's very good. All right. I have a game that we play. It's called 13 Questions with the Band. Would you like to participate?
Yes.
Yes.
We would love to.
All right, let's do it. Time for 13 questions with the band. Yes, this segment's back again. It's called 13 questions, but I only asked 6, maybe 5. Okay, we're back. Okay, this is 13 questions with the band with Futura Free. First question. What was the... I'll ask each of you a question.
Okay.
Sorry,
okay.
I should explain the rules.
Okay.
I'll ask each of you a question, and it's kind of a rapid fire, but you can say, like, you know, some backstory to it or whatever you want, but it's not supposed to last an hour.
Okay.
Gotcha.
What was the very first tape, CD, or record you ever bought with your own money?
Insomniac by Green Day, I think.
Good one.
Is me as well?
Yeah.
I think it was would have probably been Waking the Fallen by Avenged Sevenfold, I think.
Classics. Insomniac was your first record. Usually it's Dookie. I get a lot of Dookies.
Yeah, I think I borrowed Dookie from a friend or something like that. So I was at this anyway. There was something about that.
Yeah, I liked Insomniac. I thought that was a good record.
Yeah,
and
it is a good record.
It's highly underappreciated.
I agree.
Speaking of records, what is your desert island record? If you got stranded on a desert island for like 10 years and you only had one something to listen to.
Yeah.
One vinyl. One.
We might have the same answer. Near My God by Foxing, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Near My God by Foxing for me as well. Just I think the depth and breadth of that record is the only record that I wouldn't go crazy listening to only one record over and over and over again.
Okay, let's pretend you both got stuck on the same island,
Okay,
so
okay,
you have a second choice.
Oh, come on. This is where I had that one ready, and
Don't make me use my brain.
I was gonna say that one can be yours.
Yeah. Let me think.
Possibly, I'd want "Much Love" by Microwave. Something a little bit more like fun. Keep things upbeat while I'm like stranded.
To take your mind off the desert island?
Yeah.
To take your mind off the taste of coconut?
Let's go with Peripheral Vision by Turnover.
Okay.
Maybe.
Very good. Next question. What was the very first live concert you ever saw?
I think mine was Randy Bachman or like Bachman Turner Overdrive at the Thunder Bay Community Auditorium.
Nice. Community Auditorium. Yeah. Right by the Canada Games Complex.
That's right.
I think my first, at least like what I would have called a concert as opposed to like a small show or something, I think was actually Dean Brody in Thunder Bay as well.
Who's Dean Brody?
Country artist.
Oh, nice.
Good old Thunder Bay, eh?
Yeah.
The land, the city of firsts.
I grew up in Muskoka, and there were not a lot of concerts close by to get to easily.
Yeah, that's fair. I saw a lot of I think the very first show I ever saw was at the CLE. Remember the CLE?
Oh, I remember the CLE. All
and
right.
it was like Honeymoon Suite. or something. Do you remember that Canadian band Honeymoon Suite?
Maybe, yeah.
They were doing the fair tour, you know what I mean? They were playing they were going across Canada
Fair
playing
rotation.
all the carp fair and it was awesome though. I was like, oh my god. Anyway. This is rock stars. Anyway. Next question is let's see. If you had a time machine and you could go to any historical music event, what would it be?
Something in the 90s. I would either the first one. I've got Green Day on the brain. Like Woodstock with Green Day with the mud fight.
94.
Yeah, Woodstock 94. Either that or maybe like some kind of Blink 182, 99, something like that. Yeah.
Would you have actually thrown some mud at Billy Joe Armstrong?
I would have. Yeah, I think I would have. That would have been fun, right?
Okay. He'd be your target, not the bass player, Mike.
No, Mike got his teeth knocked out or something. I think.
Oh, by the bouncer though.
Yeah, not
or something.
For me, it would be the second last Bloodfest in Michigan. I went to the last one and it was awesome. And I looked at I think it was 2018 maybe. And that was the last Bloodfest ever. And the year before, a whole bunch of bands that I retrospectively would have wanted to see, but I didn't know the fest was happening. So I know it's a little bit more lame, but I definitely want to go just the year before and see. It was cool fest held in a community college and so many bands, middle and nowhere Michigan.
Cool. Have you ever had a music I was there moment? Like, say, when Jimi Hendrix, like, burned his guitar at Woodstock type of deal. Was that at Woodstock? I think so.
I think so. Not really. The closest I came, I met both the guys from Modern Baseball on the street in Toronto. That's about as close as I'm gonna get to anything kind of interesting.
That's
I think.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I got a one-on-one chat with Dan Campbell at Bloodfest the year that I went, where just nobody was in the hallway. It was just the two of us. But cool. It's not really.
That's actually better than mine.
Yeah, it's not really. Like nobody saw a video of that or anything. But I thought it was cool to stand one-on-one with the lead singer of a band, two bands that I love.
You were there though.
Yeah, I was there, so you can't say I wasn't.
What band would Future Free love to open for?
Do they have to still be? I guess before I ask,
any era ever.
Just going on like sheer like it'd be cool to open for like I don't know The Cure or something. I don't know.
That can still be done.
Yeah,
that could still be done.
Maybe like The Cure and like I guess it'd still be cool to open for The Cure now. Anyway, that's sort of my offhand one.
I think I would probably pick Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah, actually that'd be dope. We love Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to. Yeah. You actually have to love them.
Yeah, it's by law.
It's part of the rules. Yeah. I loved. Was it 23?
Yeah.
Was that the record?
Futures.
Futures. That's what it was. Yeah. That's the one. Because I remember I had the CD and it was like the demos and the actual record.
Yeah.
And I remember that. I was 23.
Yeah.
I don't always
that's my favorite song.
So good, right? I remember
that
driving.
Is my favorite song.
I remember driving in the winter and the snow was coming down, and that was on my like
and that song's just
stereo.
so epic.
And I remember I replayed it like 4 times. And I was
yes,
like, I'm having a moment.
That song is like a movie moment. Like it's I love
good.
That song.
It's a really good song. It has its own kind of it has its own orbit. That song.
It does.
Okay, a couple more. It's called 13 Questions with the Band. It doesn't mean I asked 13. It's just there's 13 questions that I asked some questions from.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't really lay these rules out. Anyway. Okay. Individually, if you could have a drink or a meal with anybody, alive or dead, who would it be?
I would probably. Who would I say? Maybe like a producer. So like maybe there's a producer really like his name is Will Yip. He makes some pretty cool records. He's like a modern guy. There's probably a cooler. Who's like another good producer? Anyway, I'll say Will Yip. He's a producer from Pennsylvania. He's the guy I want to get a drink with, I guess.
Yep.
I would ask him a lot of questions.
I don't know. Very leery of the never meet your heroes, but obviously I still would jump at the chance if I could. I might pick, I don't know his name, but the lead singer of Viagra Boys, because I feel like the stories that he would have to tell would be truly insane.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but yeah, that guy's wild.
Viagra Boys.
Yeah.
It's the same price as the generic? Anyway. 2 more questions. You, as you are now, could give advice to yourself as a kid. What would it be?
Well, yeah. What regrets do I? I don't know. Yeah. What would I say? I guess.
Say you only had one sentence. You had to sum it up.
Yeah. Start playing live as soon as you possibly can. I think. Or yeah, just start. Yeah, get in front of an audience through any means necessary. I guess. Would be. I'm gonna write that down.
No, not that. I'm gonna write down that. I'm gonna change that question.
What advice would I give my younger self? I think just sort of lame, but I think if I knew everything was going to be okay, it would have helped a lot with the anxiety when I was younger. So I'd probably just tell myself, like, hey, you're going to make it. Things are going to be fine.
We made it.
Yeah. Whenever you're going through something, I want you to be able to hold on to that and be like, I'm going to come out the other side of this and be better than I was before.
That's nicer than mine. That was.
It's all going to be okay.
It's all gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Final question. With 13 questions with the band, who is Futura Free?
Is this a trick question?
Is this a trick question?
It is. It's what you want it
Who
to
is
be.
Futura Free? Futura Free is if you go and look on the cover of Futures by Jimmy Eat World, there's a guy standing in a phone booth on the album artwork, and that's Futura Free. That guy standing in the phone booth. That's my final answer.
Very good. Thank you so much for being on Ego and Vice.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
It's been wonderful.
it's fabulous.
It's been a pleasure meeting you guys, and I hope you have an amazing career. I wish you nothing but the best, and good luck with everything. Let's do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
For sure.
All right.
They probably flipped a coin for it. Y'all controlling arbiter of our fate. I'm not sure that there is a right time to exist. It was blind luck alone that brought us to this place. They say we don't move, and time passes through our bodies till one day we just dissolve. And it might seem cruel, but there's nothing we can do. Just quiet comprehending of the ending of it all. No signs of slowing, no chance to stop. There's violence knowing the world's not what you thought. And everything is easy until it's not. I need an exit strategy. It's whatever you want. I'll meet you at the end. You'll know it happens when you can't walk any farther, but you can't go home again. No signs of slowing, no chance to stop. There's violence knowing the world's not what you thought. And everything is easy until it's not. I need an exit strategy. No signs of slowing, no chance to stop. There's violence knowing the world's not what you thought, and everything is easy until it's not. I need an exit strategy. It's whatever you want.
All right, that's the end of episode 142. I'd like to thank Peter and Clinton from Futura Free for coming down to Southwood Studio and having a chat. It was a good conversation. Great band. Good dudes. Keep writing songs. I don't think you have enough. If you want to listen to the podcast, you can always go to egoandvicepodcast.com. There you'll find every link that you need to find, and all the other information regarding the show, contact information, merch, bios, every episode. It's all there. Cool. Other than that, if you want to get a hold of me, you can always reach me at egoandvice@gmail.com. Drop a line. Drop a comment. Drop a complaint. Please drop a complaint. Just saying. That's it for me. We'll see you next week. Bye.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.